You guys will never guess what happened today. My Pali scriptures arrived. For those listening on the podcast, that was a little bit of a joke because we just got finished with a montage of the mountain of books that I received from the Pali Text Society, which, as you can see, as I predicted, are now in the place where the Buddhist books, what had formerly been known as the Buddhist books, with just a tiny little sample of Theravada over on the side, and then immediately jumping into the Mahayana Sutras, then into the Vajrayana Sutras, then the Zen and everything. Now we've got an entire shelf. This shelf here, I don't have my, yes I do. This shelf here of Theravada. Plus, actually, if you notice that maroon color is also here because there wasn't enough room even stacking them vertically to maximize, the amount of books that I could shove in there, fit in there. There wasn't enough room for all of them, so I had to rearrange this top shelf a bit to make room for a stack there. Anyway, I want to get to the reading today. For those of you who are new, you may want to start at the very beginning. Go ahead and click here. That'll take you to the From the Beginning Buddhist Books playlist. This is Edward Reeves' Buddhist Books podcast, also known as Buddhist Books series on YouTube. And, I forgot to say, no longer will we hear this. Thank you, Denomalos. That is a very obscure reference. I might say Keanu Reeves, anybody? Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey is what that was a reference to. The sequel to Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. All right, and today we've got Parshvanatha, which obviously I haven't memorized yet because I had to consult my little note here, and Mahavir, which I have memorized. Present, the 23rd and 24th Tirthankara of Jainism. Speaking of which, if you're asking yourself, why is it Jainism? If this is a Buddhist Books podcast, then click here, and that'll take you to episode 1 of the Jain Sūtras playlist. And for all this, I apologize for the people listening on the podcast, because I keep talking to the people on YouTube. Maybe because I'm seeing the video get recorded. And so I just keep thinking, oh yeah, click here and click that and comment below, and I'm pointing up to the corner of the screen to tell people things. Okay, I am not going to dilly-dally this time. I am going to get right to it, because now I'm motivated, because I've committed to read this thin book. It's very thin. And when I finish this book, then we'll get to that. And I still have to sort it and figure out what order I should put it in and what book I should start with. I need to do a bit of research. That's going to be some homework for me. And by the way, Pali Text Society, if you're watching, hello, and you're welcome for that free bit of advertising, and thank you for the books. I mean, I did pay for them, but thank you nonetheless for sending them. As promised, I'm going to try to read this sentence. Remember, this is the grammarians, whoever they are, giving the following analysis of obeisance. So this is the grammarians' analysis of obeisance in the original Sanskrit, one assumes. Matastvamut Christastvachohamapakrsta. New word. That was all one word. So all of that, comma. Sometimes in Sanskrit they just it's actually a bunch of words, but they don't put spaces between them. Anyway. And then new word, okay. Etadadvaya. That one wasn't so difficult. Next. Bodhananukula. I think I know that first couple of syllables. New word. Vyaparo. He. It's spelled like hi. Hi, but I'm assuming it's he. Nama Sabdareta. Okay, now you remember the bit that ended with master and disciple doesn't mean master and slave. That's the 20th century saint explaining the meaning of the grammarian's analysis on Namaskara. So, moving right along, to quote Fozzie Bear and Kermit the Frog. Now, the emotion of Namaskara. In scriptural language, Namaskara is an emotion of joy and appreciation, to become overwhelmed with adoration and to express respect and reverence toward those evolved souls who are more radiant and superior to oneself in qualities is pramoda bhavana, or joyous appreciation. By practicing this emotion of love, the aspirant finds that the first thing that comes to mind, sorry, I know I promised I was going to stick to the reading, but can you see this? Yeah, in my early years, Tron, and indeed Flynn, inspired, I think, this joyous, you are so much cooler than me, I am not worthy kind of thing in me. So that's what came to mind. Anyway, I'm going to keep reading. I'm going to try not to interrupt. My plan, by the way, when I get to the Pali Sutras is I'm going to stick to the reading 90%. Maybe every once in a while we'll have a little fun episode, but I'm going to turn this into like a books on tape, serious kind of thing. And we're going to bump the episode length up from 30 to 60 minutes at that time. But until then, we'll stick to these slightly silly 30-minute episodes. And then eventually this will be a serious podcast. And if you saw it on YouTube, you have an idea of what you're in for the next probably 10 years or so of these episodes. Mm-hmm. Okay. By practicing this emotion of love, the aspirant, now that's aspirant, the one who aspires, not aspirant. That's what you leave in your chair. Okay. So, by practicing this emotion of love, the aspirant finds that the negative qualities of envy, jealousy, and pride are uprooted. One acquires positive energy, and as a result, the heart of the sadhaka becomes broader, kinder, and more sublime. We have incredible stories in our scriptures that tell us of many an aspirant who brought about a transformation in his life by the sheer power of this emotion. The benefit of Namaskara. We are now in an era of logic and reasoning. Remember, he's writing from basically present day. One assumes 100 years ago or whatever, 70 years ago, something like that. He was probably in the 60s, 50s. I don't know when he was writing or talking, but it's our time. He's talking to us about the scriptures from 2,300 some odd years ago. Okay, we want a logical, we question everything around us. Yes, we do, don't we? I don't. We want a logical reason for rules that exist, for practices we are expected to follow. So we ask, why must we pay obeisance to the enlightened beings? Can we really benefit from uttering their name? Can they do anything for us? To these questions, my response is, when did anybody ever claim that the Arihantas and Siddhas have done anything for us? They have no direct relationship with our evolution or destruction. It is each individual who has to do whatever is required for his or her evolution. But one can draw inspiration and strength from these enlightened beings, and thus they are a motivation for our evolution. These 5 padas are our support. If you don't know the 5 padas, just think for a minute. Remember episode 2 of Jain Sūtras, the 5 bowings, the 5 things you're supposed to bow to, right? Okay. Okay. Just a moment while I figure out where I was. Okay. One can draw inspiration. These 5 padas are our support, our ideals, and our goal. It is our spiritual goal to reach where they have reached, and to uplift our souls as they have done. Duty does not mean superficial efforts. In this respect, the Jaina Path, Jaina Path, that's a new one for me. Cool. Okay, in this respect, the Jaina Path is in agreement with others who prescribe duties. But where duty is considered as help, deliverance, and magical powers, Jainism treads its own independent view. Ooh, that appeals to me as a 20th century independence-minded student. Clever, sir. By uttering the name of great souls like Arhantas, the blemishes of sins are washed away, just as thieves pack up and disappear with the rising of the sun. An odd analogy, but I'll allow it. The sun does not directly chase the thieves away. They disappear of their own accord at its very sight. Now it makes sense. The sun does not come near the lotus. Rather, the lotus blooms at the sight of the sun. Cool. I just want to sit with that for a moment. All right. I like that. Okay. All right. No wonder they call this guy a saint. He's making some sense. For the lotus, the sun is the instrumental cause. I can't help but think that the Buddha helped Jainism to adapt in a similar way that Martin Luther helped the Catholic Church to reform. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just saying stuff. It's a podcast. That's what we do, right? Just say stuff. Ask questions. I'm just asking questions. At least I'm not dropping offensive words too often. Am I? I apologize if I am. I bleeped out those ones in the last episode. Okay. For the lotus, the sun is the instrumental cause, and not the material cause for blooming. So also, the name of liberated souls, such as Arhantas, is the instrumental cause for the evolution of worldly souls. By chanting the names of great souls and masters, our thoughts get purified. By pure thoughts, negative resolves are thwarted. Strength, courage, and energy infiltrate the soul, and the realization of its true and magnificent form dawns on us. Oh, I see what you did there, the sun. Clever seat. At that moment, the karmic shackles get destroyed in the same manner as Hanumana's fetters fell away when he realized his own strength in Lanka. All right, okay, that's cool. I can see why some people like to read contemporary authors. Huh. Okay, at least some of them. Worship of virtues. There may be many sects in Jaina religion, and they may have their differences, but they are all unanimous in their view on the Namaskara mantra. This is the central axis on which all pilgrims unite. With the Namaskara mantra, all great role models of human endeavor are worshipped, and the importance of bowing to their superior qualities finds great emphasis. You might have noticed that many of our non-Jaina brethren emphasize on personification in their mantras. Somewhere Indra is worshipped, and at other places Vishnu, Shiva, Brahma, Chandra, and Surya are venerated. But in the Namaskara mantra, you will not find the names of any persons or gods. Here, obeisance is paid to those who have attained supremacy by the evolution of their qualities, whatever their caste, creed, color, country, culture, or sect. It is not to the attributes of eternal life that we bow. I really like this guy. But to the spiritual qualities of the soul. The evolution of spiritual qualities such as nonviolence and truth is the reason for this worship of qualities. Meaning of the 5 padas. The first universally beneficial pada of Namaskara mantra is that of the Arhanta. The popular meaning of Arhanta is, quote, the great soul that has conquered the blemishes and karmic enemies of the inner self, such as desire, anger, ego, and greed. There's no end quote there, but I'm going to go ahead and put one there. Another meaning of Arhanta is, quote, supremely venerable soul, worthy of worship and capable of emancipation. End quote. It's there this time. Okay. Fix your typos. Jain Society, or whoever it is, Virayatan. Hey, Virayatan, there should be a quote here. All right. Sorry. Okay. Yet another etymology declares that the soul which illuminates all creatures of this world with the light of knowledge rests on the seat of Lord Arihanta. The second pada is of the Siddha. Siddha means perfect. The great souls who have found complete freedom from karmic blemishes and the cycle of life, and who have attained immortality, perfect knowledge, and liberation, are addressed as Siddha. Before achieving the Siddha state, one has to cross the Arhanta state. One cannot become Siddha without becoming Arhanta. Stated in worldly language, it can be said that Arihantas are those who have freed themselves from life, and Siddhas are those who have freed themselves from bodily bounds. The third pada is that, I get it, and it makes sense. However, well, I should just keep reading, shouldn't I? I don't know. I just see the hint of one of those little things that's like, well, yeah, but... I don't think the Buddha necessarily would disagree with that, but I think that Padmasambhava would disagree with that. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. The third pada is that of the Akarya. In Jaina religion, conduct is of great importance. At every step of the path, right conduct and vigilance are proof of the superiority of the Jaina Sadhaka. Sidebar on what I just said. On the other hand, there might just be an asterisk there that becoming free of life doesn't necessarily mean you have to quit your job and run away from your wife and kids and responsibilities and stuff. You can become free from your life and still live it. That's what I'd say. I don't think you necessarily have to literally abandon your life. That's my only comment. The Buddha, of course, did abandon his life. But apparently his son became one of his disciples, so I guess it all worked out at the end. And he was a prince. He had a palace. It's not like his wife and kid were going to starve or something. He was just like, someone else is going to be king. I'm going to go do something else. You guys have fun. I know you'll miss me. Sorry. You'll be fine. Here's a lot of gold. People call him a deadbeat dad. No, not so much. Not so much. Like people who want to play us versus them football teams, and Christianity is better. Meh. Okay. Where were we? Oh, wow. One. How could one ever know where we were? Yes, okay. The third pada is that of the Akarya. In Jaina religion, conduct is of great importance. I think I said that already, but it's okay. I'll just keep reading. At every step of the path, right conduct and vigilance are proof of the superiority of the Jaina Sadhaka. Verily, verily, I say unto thee. No, it just says verily. Those who follow remember Indian English. Verily, those who follow the right conduct in their own lives and inspire others to do so in their leadership of the Sangha are known as Akaryas. The Jaina system has 5 main tenets. Non-violence. See, whoever wrote the Lotus Sutra didn't know that the Jains also used the word Sangha. I'm just putting it out there. Probably because they were in China 1,000 years later. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'll stop. I really will. Okay, the Jaina system has 5 main tenets. Non-violence, truth, non-stealing, celibacy, and non-possessiveness. Okay, they might have been at Nalanda University. The Akaryas have to follow these 5 great vows and help others follow them as well. What were they? The Akaryas have to follow... Oh, right. Okay, let's back up a little bit. This is important. I'm just reading the words and not even thinking about it. Okay, the Jaina system has 5 main tenets. All right. Remember, we're reading this to find out what it was that Buddha decided to move away from. Okay. Not that he didn't necessarily agree with most of these. Non-violence, I'd say the Buddha agrees with that one, right? Truth, non-stealing, celibacy. I mean, again, I think the Buddha agreed with that one, but again, later people started to find a way around that one. This guy over here, Mr. Rinpoche. As long as you don't finish the act, then it doesn't count. It's like Catholic school rules. Okay. Celibacy and non-possessiveness. Okay, the Buddha agreed with all of these 5. The Akaryas have to follow these 5 great vows and to help others follow them as well. They must help them atone for their wrongdoings while following these vows and help them continue to tread the path. Monks, nuns, laymen, and lay women comprise the 4-fold congregation. That's not very 21st century. I'd say that there's 7. There's monks, nuns, and genderless monk nuns of 7 different kinds, and then there's the lay people of 7 different genders. So that's 14, sir. Update your stuff, Viranda, if you want to be taken seriously by the woke. Okay, sorry. I'm just being a little ironic. I mean, he's talking. Okay. I'm not making fun. I'm not really making fun of him or them. I'm just saying stuff. Just talking. I'm just talking, right? So what podcasters do, right? Okay, where were we? We did it again. Monks, nuns, laymen, and laywomen comprise the 4-fold congregation. And the responsibility of the administration of this spiritual exercise falls on the Akarya's shoulders. Could you remind me who the Akarya is? The 3rd path is that of the Akarya. Okay, the one who is doing the right conduct and nonviolence, truth, non-stealing, celibacy, and non-possessiveness. Okay. What falls on their shoulders? The administration. Oh. Okay. So that's how they do it. All right. So they're the cancellarias, basically. The fourth pada is that of the Upadhyaya, who bestows upon us the wisdom of discrimination. Again, discrimination in old-timey / Indian English doesn't mean the same thing as when it comes to mind for those in the West. Because discrimination, there's just so much of it, and it's not the right kind in the West. Here, discrimination means being able to tell what's right and wrong. But there is no right and wrong. Only thinking makes it so. Just get over there. Get over there. Discrimination. The wisdom of discrimination. Amitabha, right? Amitabha, the red one, the red Buddha in the West, is the wisdom of discrimination. He's the Buddha family, the wisdom family, from which Siddhartha Gautama Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, and Padmasambhava are both said to be from, according to, those guys. But anyway, that's not Jainism, but it's a side note. So that phrase, wisdom of discrimination. Clean it up, work on it, meditate on it if you've got buttons. Wisdom of discrimination, that's a contradiction in terms. I assume if you're have the patience to watch this podcast that you're not having your buttons so easily pushed. You would have turned this off in episode 2 or 1 or 0. Anyway, where were we? The wisdom of discrimination. Right. By knowing the body to be different from the soul, the sadhaka understands the difference between the inert body and the conscious mind. And the conscious soul. The inert body, the conscious soul. This helps to bring evolution and idealism into one's life. Therefore, the responsibility of imparting spiritual knowledge rests upon the Upadhyaya. I don't know about you, but I'm going to watch and listen to this one again, probably 2 or 3 more times before this sinks in. But it will eventually sink in. I mean, I feel like I will eventually understand these 5 if I listen to myself read this a few times. Okay. So the responsibility of imparting spiritual knowledge rests upon the Upadhyaya. The Upadhyaya is the premonstrator. The Akarya is the cancellarius. The Siddha, what rests upon their shoulders? Did it say anything? Nothing rests upon their shoulders. Okay. They're perfect. Before achieving the Siddha, one must sing. Okay, stated in worldly knowledge, it can be the... All right. Okay, so it seems that the Arihant is completely free from life, right? And then the Siddha is free from the bondage of the body. And then these lesser ranks, the one who's responsible for administration, and then the Upadhyaya that's responsible for knowledge and teaching. And finally, the 5th pada is that of the sadhu. The meaning of sadhu is the sadhaka who is engrossed in the sadhana of the soul. Every individual is searching for accomplishment, but only great souls think of accomplishment for the soul's evolution. Again, it's not clicking right away, but I'm going to listen to that a few more times and think about it, because it sounds like there's something there that's very interesting. By the Jaina definition, sadhus are those who give up worldly passions and keep their 5 senses under control. Stay within the boundaries of celibacy and conquer anger, pride, delusion, and greed. They follow the 5 great vows of nonviolence, truth, non-stealing, celibacy, and non-possessiveness, and worship the 5 simitis and 3 guptis in a proper manner. What are they? Oh, well. Okay, maybe he'll explain later. They follow the 5 tenets of knowledge, vision, conduct, penance, and vigor without faltering. Such sadhus can be either men or women, or whatever else, I'd say. And then in quotes here, just no explanation, it's in quotes, it says, Sadayanti gnanadi saktibirmaksamiti sadava. End quote. Thank goodness. All right. I've been going up to 34 and 35 minutes lately, but, why aim for that? Okay, so thank you all. I liked today's reading. It's been a while since I've actually been happy with the reading. I like this Upadhyaya Amar Muni, I have to say. I give him obeisance. I do. My temper sucks. I struggle with it. If it's a little too hot, if I'm in a car, just that, if I'm in a car, or, people are talking a lot, or there's a lot of honking, or there's bugs, then, I struggle with my temper, and, I see wisdom in this. I'm not necessarily just approaching this from the standpoint of, what would the Buddha criticize about this? But, these are the teachings he received, and then he paid it forward in the form of Buddhist doctrine, with just some slight changes, which, again, I feel like modern-day Jainism obviously would not suggest that a person should starve themselves. And probably maybe even 3rd century BCE Jainism might also not suggest that a person starve themselves. And, perhaps our good friend, the Lord Buddha, might have something to do with those reforms and revisions. Maybe they were like, he has a good point. But we're not going to be Buddhist, obviously. We're Jainist. We've been around since forever. We're not going to suddenly be like, forget about these guys. We're going to, So there's Jainism and there's Buddhism. And so far, they seem very similar. A friend of mine was saying that the Buddha emphasizes more meditation and silence, where Mahavir and his friend Mahavir and Parshvanatha and Jainism in general emphasize more like nonviolence and these kind of behavioral things. But I don't know, in the Dhammapada, the Buddha emphasized those things too. But I haven't heard much about silence yet, and maybe that's one of the things that the Buddha brought. But I feel like he wasn't there to hack down Jainism. He was like, wow, thank you, this is great. This is just what I needed to help alleviate the suffering that I was going through. And also, let me boil it down, streamline it, and break it down into 4 of these and 8 of these, and then it's perfect for export to China and eventually Richard Gere, right? Okay, well, thank you all for joining me on this journey, and that was pretty exciting. Those books, wasn't it? So the Polytext Society, they provide all these English translations of the old Theravada, the original Theravada. I mean, the early Theravada, the stuff that Buddha taught, the stuff that the Lotus Sutra says, throw it in the fire. Just listen to this. Someone commented on one of my posts. Maybe I'll read it in the next episode, but he broke it down very nicely, and it kind of made me go, that those folks that were there when they were putting together Mahayana, they were Theravadins, and they were schooled in all of these things. They knew all of this stuff, and then they were like, okay, let's take it over this hill into this zone, and that a lot of that is kind of metaphorically expressed in the words of the Buddha in the Lotus Sutra. And I was like, okay, all right, okay, I'll see that and raise you $1, But, personally, I mean, again, and I've apologized and retracted a lot of my just ranting about how much I hate the Lotus Sutra. I am happy to eventually come to understand it in its place and to finish reading it eventually after I finish all of these books. So this isn't going to be the same color, I don't think. Thank you all for tuning in. And all right, let's close before I ramble on for another 10 minutes. It's already 36 minutes. To the north and to the south, to the east and to the west, to the spirits of light among us, and to the spirits below, we send out our reverent love and compassion. May all beings be happy. May all beings be serene. May all beings be in peace. Om.